What's going on, guys? Night Haro here. Guys, I know some people are out there, they're struggling with dealing with the bugs right now. And depending on, when you're watching this video, that may or may not be the case for you, but certainly when the bugs get ramped up to a 12, things can get quite crazy. And I think a lot of people just have problems getting overwhelmed. So today I've got an amazing build for you, actually brought to you by a friend of mine, Mr. Me, who's like, dude, I think this build's cooking. Check it out and let other people know if you like it. So, it only has 4 or 5 things you absolutely need, and then we've got several flex spots. So let's just go ahead and jump into it. So what this build is going to do, it's going to allow you, even on the highest difficulty, we only super Helldive, it's going to allow you to, first off, stay alive, right? It sucks dying, and you only got so many reinforcements. So that's the main thing it's going to do. The second thing it's going to do, it's going to allow you to kill bugs. You need to be able to kill the enemy. You need to be able to parse through all of the enemies, and that means dealing with the large enemies when you only have a couple of them, the decent amount of medium armored enemies, or even almost large now, depending on what strain you're on, and the plethora of smaller enemies with ease. You need to be able to close bug holes, and then obviously just generally complete operations. Okay, that's all well and good, but how do we actually do it? Well, what we're going to do is we're going to run an unorthodox build. I've done this with a few of the other builds I've done. I've only done a couple here on Helldivers. We're going to run the arc thrower, which is a support weapon, as our primary. And the reason for that is because this weapon is going to kill and stun everything we need. So the stun is absolutely crucially important, and anything outside of those really large units, it's just going to kill outright with a couple of hits. It's an amazing weapon. The only problem here, there is a charge up. So you want to aim, then click the charge up button. Once you see your reticle zoom down, then it'll fire off. You can let go, it'll fire off, and generally kill whatever you need, or at least stun most of them, and then a second shot will typically kill it. You can actually kill very large units with this, by the way. It's just incredibly inefficient. Like, you can kill a charger. I think you could even kill a Bile Titan. You can harm a Dragon Roach. I haven't been able to kill one yet because they don't stay in place long enough. But it's really not the ideal weapon. You really want to be using this for all of those medium and lower tier units. Okay, you can use it to stun chargers, and they'll just stand there. And so if you're in a pinch, it won't ever run out of ammo. That's one of the benefits of the arc thrower. Absolutely amazing weapon. Okay, so that's what we're pretty much going to be using for our primary. Now, that doesn't take up a backpack spot, so we have something else we can do. I recommend the guard dog, the dog's breath. And the reason for that is because gas, not only does it damage the enemy, it also blinds them, slows them, and basically disorients them so you can run through. This allows you to get off more shots with your arc thrower and not have to worry about being overwhelmed by the enemy. Now, if you don't have the dog's breath, the dog breath actually does drop in the chemical agent's war bond. You could go with something else. If you have the law enforcement war bond, I forget what it's called, I'll pop it up here. Force of law, that's the one it is. You could also go with the canine, which is an arc thrower. The canine actually, most of my friends would say it works even better because instead of stunning them, it just kills them outright. The problem with the canine is that you're going to have friendly fire. The best players out there are still going to end up with friendly fire especially in your pug. So it's kind of toxic in a pug if people aren't prepared. If you want to go with an all shock, everybody wears shock armor, it's going to be a great option, and everybody could run it, or most people could run it, and it's going to work incredibly well. But that's another option. After that, guys, any backpack, you're straying away from what the core build is here, but any backpack will be totally fine. Now, for our last 2 spots, those are going to be flex spots. These are critically important, but we'll talk about them in just a second. Let's talk about primary. So for our primary, we have 2 main options. The first one here, the exploding crossbow. And the reason that I really like this is because it's one-handed, which is super nice, especially if you're going to grab the egg, and there are other, you got to carry SSD across the map, what have you, but it still does good damage. It has a good amount of ammo. You can fire it plenty, decent, reload time, and it's explosive, so you can close bug holes with this, okay? So this is what we use for closing bug holes. You're running through a, mega nest or what have you, just drop one in a hole, absolutely it's dead. Now another second option, which works a little bit different, is going to be the Eruptor. This is heavy armor penetrating, also explosive. It will close bug holes. I think the Eruptor is honestly better in some ways. First off, it's two-handed, right? And it's better because if you're facing bowel spewers, it'll just one-shot them and they'll explode everywhere. If you have a bunch of little warriors running around, The AoE from the Eruptor is much better. It's much larger, and the shrapnel and everything will kill more of those units. It is a little bit more difficult to use in close range. It's a little bit more difficult because it does have a larger explosion to deal around your allies. There are pros and cons to both. Both are fine. They both come from the Democratic Detonation War Bond, which honestly I think is the best of the premium war bonds out there. Right? Like, you get the ones that are included, Helldivers Mobilized, but I think that Democratic Detonation is by far the first war bond pretty much everybody should get, unless there's just something you really like, and then, get whatever you'd like. But both options there for our primary, the crossbow being the first one, the Eruptor being a really good alternative. Both are totally fine. For our secondary, guys, we're going with the Ultimatum. Guys, the Ultimatum comes from the Servants of Freedom War Bond. That is not my favorite war bond, but it does include that of note and also the Portable Hell Bomb, which is just incredibly fun. When we play with one of the guys who play with Vatra, he just always takes the Portable Hell Bomb. He just loves it. Most of the time, he just suicides in, too. He just doesn't even care. But you don't need to, but, the Servants of Freedom War Bond, not a whole lot to recommend it, but the Ultimatum just by itself is pretty amazing. And that's honestly typical. Usually there's like one or two things in each war bond that are like really good, and then the rest of them are like, yeah, it's kind of fun, or it's different, or you can RP or whatever. That's typically how it goes, though. The Ultimatum is just absolutely ridiculous, right? So this is basically a handheld mini precision explosion, okay? So you can use this to kill any of the big units. You can one-shot roaches with this. It's a little tricky to hit them, but if you do, it one-shots them, or if you hit right underneath them, it'll also, depending on the situation, but it'll tend to one-shot them as well, as long as you aim correctly. You could use this against Bile Titans. You can kill Chargers, Impalers, all those large units. This is going to be one of your options here for killing those large units, because if you've noticed, that's really what we haven't really covered in this build. We have things like the crossbow and the Eruptor, which will go for the smaller units, but again, mostly for closing bug holes and what have you. But you'll use the Arc Thrower for the small and medium tier units. You've got the Gas Dog to slow them down, or you can do the Canine to kill them, and then you need something for the bigger units. Another option for killing those units, particularly Chargers, is the Thermite Grenade. Again, it's in the Democratic Detonation War Bond. So the Thermite Grenade, you throw it sticks to an opponent. One will kill a Charger. It just takes a minute. One, if you hit it in the right place, once the Impaler is sunk its tentacles into the ground, if you hit it in that forehead area, it will one-shot it. If you throw it on top, you'll have to hit it several times. I'm not sure, maybe 2 or 3, depending on where exactly you stick that grenade. But it's an amazing option for those heavier units. Now, that's several ways of dealing with the bigger units, but it's not all of them. And if you're super Helldiving, you might be in a situation, depending on what your other group's loadout is, if you're not counting on them at all, you probably need something else. So in that situation, you have several options. One of them that a lot of people are really liking, Mr. Me included, since he's the one who recommended this build, is the Orbital Rail Cannon Strike. I mean, this is just fire and forget, right? You throw it out, it will track to the highest tier unit, the largest unit, and it will just one-shot them, okay? Now, if you're talking about the Dragon Roach, if it's flying around, don't just throw it out and hope it's going to track to it, because it might miss. Wait until it'll do a strafing run, and then typically it'll pull back up, and then it'll hover, and then it'll breathe fire or I guess acid that lights on fire or whatever, napalm. You want to throw it out at that time, okay? So you make sure you hit it. So wait for it to be stationary so you don't miss it. That's a good option there. If you're worried about more of the little units, maybe you're trying to hold a point or something, Napalm Barrage could be great. And then my, kind of another option is going to be the 500, the Eagle 500 kg. The reason I love the 500, besides, it blows up, kills everything. It'll kill large units, so you can use it for that. It does a decent explosive radius, so it'll also kill a decent number of smaller or medium-sized units. It also, you can be incredibly close. You and your allies can be incredibly close to this. As long as you dive whenever you see it strike the ground, and you're diving whenever it goes off, you can survive being incredibly close to this. So it's one of those where it's really easy not to kill your allies with it. So Orbital Rail Cannon Strike, a great option. Maybe the 500, depending on what you're at. Now, if you're going in the bug holes, then you might want something else. In that case, I think the Emancipator Exosuit is absolutely the way to go. There are other great options, okay? Don't get me wrong, but these exosuits are just so good in there, and they're so good in general, and they're fun, right? Who doesn't want to play a little mech warrior? So the last 2 spots here, though, guys, you could really use whatever you want, but there's a couple of really good options for you. And then, of course, for your booster, guys, there's a lot of things. So you always want to make sure that you have HellPod space optimization. If you're dying at all, which everybody is, make sure you have it in your group. I think Vitality is great. Highly recommend it. It does work. If you're on a planet that is fairly either it's not sandy or it's not snowy or something else, then I think stamina enhancement is great. If you are on a planet that is sandy or not really, you don't really have snow on the bug so much, but depending on what it is, swamps, for example, then going with a muscle enhancement actually will typically be better than stamina. Ideally, you still get both. And then, of course, experimental infusion is always, a fine option there. So those are 4, really good options there. You could also go with motivational shocks, guys. This will help you not get CC'd whenever you're getting hit by acid, and that will slow you. So it's one that I think a lot of people sleep on, but whenever you're dealing with a predator strain, especially, it can be really good. Now for armor, guys, I am loving the new Scorpion armor, the Desert Stormer, with the 40% resistant to fire, gas, acid, and electricity. So all the resistances and the increased 20% throwing range. Man, my new favorite armor. This is the medium version. You can run light, you can run heavy. There's not a light version of this out just yet. It'll probably come to the cash store, but that's what I personally recommend. If you want to run something else, or if you don't have it, maybe have Obedient, the Acclimated, which has 50% resistances, just doesn't give you the extra throw distance. Then you have resistance to all of the bugs, issues with gas, acid. If you get zapped, by your ally with the electrical resistant, or if you get lit on fire, because everybody's running fire and on bugs. So good all around. But if you prefer some other kind of armor, you're just fine doing something else. But that's it, guys. That's it. It's mainly those first 5 things. The arc thrower, the gas dog, if you can, or the canine, which is the shock dog. We're using an explosive weapon, either the crossbow or the eruptor. We've got the ultimatum, and then we've got the sticky grenade. We've got the thermite grenade there. So that's it for this build, guys. With this, I've been able to clear plenty of super Helldive, and the build works incredibly well. Really appreciate Mr. Me for turning me on to it. And guys, if you like this and you want to see more videos like this, do me a favor. Leave a like on the video and subscribe. Those are the 2 main things I look at. If I see that and drop a comment, those are the 3 main things. If I hear from people, even if I don't get a bunch of likes, but someone's like, no, this is really good, this is really helpful, I will make more videos like this, okay? Again, I haven't historically done this, but I think a lot of people are really struggling on the super Helldiving mode, and we can go more in depth on, how to deal with the bots, how to deal with the squids and everything else. Just let me know. But anyways, guys, that's it for today. Appreciate you guys watching. We'll catch you in the next one.